So we have Mikhail Cirker here with us today, and Mikhail is going to talk to us a little bit about the do's and don'ts, and basically let's just jump into it. What do you find is something that rubs you really off with a singer coming to an audition?
It is very, very important how you present yourself. Mm-hmm. And the first and foremost thing that you have to be in charge of is, please, and this goes for all of you out there who are watching this, who are singers, please pronounce the names of your arias perfectly. Especially if there are people that might know the language, especially if it's a NIOP audition where you have people that are going to be engaging you in the countries of which you might be singing these pieces. It's of crucial importance that you absolutely pronounce it correctly. Mm-hmm. Very important.
Among all the experience, you have played hundreds, if not thousands, of auditions. and again, you're one of the go-to pianists here in New York. Everybody knows you all over the country. What do you like to see when you meet a musician? What helps you create an atmosphere where you're going to collaborate with the singer?
If they have a very specific tempo that they want me to adhere to, I need to know those things ahead of time. It's nice to know those things ahead of time. Now, generally in an audition setting, I can usually hear it in mid-audition, but not always.
Now, you have played for countless amount of singers from all levels, professional, kids just coming out of college. I've seen you many times on the Met stage, mm-hmm. Playing for some big singers and for some just kids that are coming right out of college. Mm-hmm. What is the biggest difference you can see between guys that they're well seasoned, they've been on the road, they know what to do, and the kids that are just coming out of college? What do you see possibly lacking that they should acquire?
The first and most important word of all, which is something that I stress very strongly in my coachings, is concentration. Mm-hmm. The more heavily concentrated the singer is, generally, that's something that comes with time and experience. Yeah. Younger singers are more easily distracted, either by a tempo that they are not accustomed to hearing, mm-hmm. a wrong note, the sound of something clattering in the background, somebody sneezing, somebody coughing, somebody suddenly I'm getting up and talking on their cell phone in the middle of the audition, which happens often. Mm-hmm. Somebody talking in the middle of the audition, which we all know happens.
It happens a lot. Yeah.
It certainly does. It happens more often than not. Mm-hmm. And they cannot be rattled by that. And more often than not, younger singers do tend to be rattled by that. The pros have a tendency to just keep going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The most important thing I can tell any of you who are listening to this who are singers is no matter what happens in an audition and whether you like it or dislike it, never ever show your disapproval of what you've done. Never. And that's the most important thing I can possibly say to any of you who are listening to this. Never show any signs of weakness or disapproval of what you're doing.
What made you fall in love with singing? Because you must be in love. You've been in it for so long. I mean, there's no way. You must love it.
I do, for a variety of reasons. And I'll tell you, I sort of came at it by way of the back door, in that most of us started off as soloists, mm-hmm. in our training and in our realizations. I found it by way of the simple song. Mm. And through art songs and through lieder. It's no surprise and no secret that German is what I do, yes. predominantly. And it was through the lieder of Schubert, Schumann, Brahms, mm-hmm. Richard Strauss, countless other composers who wrote in German. And that's kind of where it started. And from there became a curiosity about opera.
Talking about singers, and sort of if you had one do and what do not, one do and one don't.
Well, I have quite a few of those. Here's some of my favorites, in case you were wondering. Be very, very, very careful when you mark your music. Remember that when you present this in an audition, an accompanist is going to have to read it. I had an experience many, many, many years ago, which I'm sure you won't mind my sharing.
No, we'd love to hear it.
Of all pieces, Componist, Ariadne auf Naxos, Seien wir wieder gut, mm-hmm. somewhere, I can't remember, I think it was on, it had to have been on a B flat or something. In fact, I'm sure it was. Written in very, very large letters over half of the accompaniment. Good thing I knew it. Otherwise, God knows what would have happened. In very large, giant letters, deep throat. And it was underlined 3 times. And that's what I happened to see.
Not only once, not only twice, 3 times.
It was underlined 3 times.
Very deep throat.
Yes, right underneath the B flat. To the extent that I absolutely could not read the accompaniment, but since I know how it goes.
That begs the question.
Yes.
How was the note?
Well.
Do you think there is one recipe that works better for singers? A combination of things that you have seen. There are people that you look at and you just think, honey, it's just not going to work. Other people where you just go, kid, you got it.
Here's the deal. In this day and age, everybody seems to be concerned about a package. It's not just about the voice and great singing anymore. How I wish it were. And those days, we all remember those days, and we all hearken back to the days when it was all about voice and singing. These days, it doesn't appear to be enough for many companies. It now appears to be that you not only do you have to be musically immaculate from the standpoint of your rhythms, from the standpoint of your style, especially style, but also apparently you have to look the part, and the people that are going to actually be physically prepared as well as vocally prepared are the ones that are going to always, for some reason or another, come out on top.
Yeah.
And it may not necessarily be that they are even vocally appropriate for what they're auditioning for either. And this you know to be true.
So, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So do your due diligence and be ready. Be prepared.
At this particular juncture, you have to be super prepared for anything. And I tell each and every one of the people that work with me, you have to be 10 times better than anyone else out there, or you might as well not do this.
Well, Mitchell, we'll see a lot of each other on the circuit this year for the auditions.
So.
I look forward to. Thank you so much for
My pleasure. Thanks
coming
for having
and
me.
Sharing your advice with us, and wishing you all the best for the season.
Thank you, and the same to you. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.